Hey, I'm here. I'm back with another video. Hope everybody is staying safe and whatnot. So, no, I haven't done a review to Married at First Sight because they're annoying and I don't feel like it. No, I haven't done a review to Manifest just because I simply haven't watched it. But what I did freaking watch though, before I go any further, I'm gonna say this. If you are sensitive to the topic of race, um, political affiliations, if you are sensitive to any of those things, this is not the video for you because I'm here to review the Netflix How to Fix a Drug Scandal, and I'm gonna be going in. I'm not really gonna be talking too much about the story itself. Like a lot of my reviews, actually, if like a lot of my reviews, if you guys have paid attention at this point, I don't really so much talk about a lot about the story itself. I talk about a lot of the underlying issues behind the story and just certain things that, like, peaked or the peaked things that poked out or stuck out. There we go, stuck out to me. So if y'all don't know, I'm just gonna give y'all a really quick run through. So this documentary pretty much is about two women. One woman name is, damn, what the hell is her name? Okay, because I know the last name is Dunick. Hold on, y'all, because I'm gonna get this shit right. One was named Dunick, and there was a, one second, y'all, because I want to get this right. I promise you, I want to get this right. There we go. That's her name. So it was really more so, it was talking about two people, but the two chemists are Sonia Ferrick, and then the other woman's name, I can't find it right now, but I know her last name is Kunik. Kunik, right? Oh crap. I'm sorry, y'all. I know I should have had my shit together. I know I'm terrible at this. I'm so bad. What's her name? Sonia Ferrick and Dukon. Sorry, there we go. Ferrick and Dukon. Okay, so these pretty much are two chemists that works for their respective. This is all in Massachusetts, like I think Western Massachusetts, kind of Boston-ish kind of area, and they pretty much work for a drug lab or whatever, which is pretty much when drugs is seized from someone or criminal or whoever the hell it is that they pick up. They take the drugs, of course, and they put it into evidence. Those drugs are then sent out to the lab, which is where these people work for, and they go through pretty much to see number one what the substance is, because a lot of times it might look like coke, but it might not be coke. It could just be possibly sugar. So the whole point of their jobs is to get the evidence and test it to see what it is. That's all that their job is. Their job is not to also, if called upon, they will sometimes be called upon for like witnesses, kind of like expert testimony. But point of the matter is that their job is simply to test the drugs and to see what it is. That is it. They are not to work for anybody in particular and all of that other stuff. So like I said, we pretty much get now, the bulk of the story is really more so focused around Sonia Ferrick and her case, but the woman, Dunick, she also has a little bit of a hand into it as well. So like I said, pretty much it's just about these two women who they both pretty much got caught up separately, but kind of like all in the same area, messing, quote unquote, tampering with the evidence. Like I said, this is me going in, so spoiler alert, if you don't want to know. So what happened is that Dooncon, I'm gonna learn how to say her damn name. How do you say it? Dukon. She pretty much was pretty much, she got in trouble because she pretty much was being buddy with the prosecution and the ADA and stuff like that when it came to a lot of her, like a lot of the cases and stuff that she got. They would contact her, she would contact them. They got emails of them going back and forth, and oh my gosh, you did such a great job. Oh, I need you to get this. Oh, I need you to do that. Now in our reality, of course, I mean, if you're not an average, if you're not in this field, or if you don't really want to be in the field, or you don't pay attention, you wouldn't know. But me, because I am studying to be I'm studying to be a lawyer, I already know that a lot of this shit goes on. Honestly, even without me being a lawyer, I watch enough Law and Order, SVU, even though that's not a complete accurate description. But a lot of the stuff that goes on in Law and Order does happen in real life. So the fact that the ADA do be going behind people's backs and getting in contact with the forensic people and trying to talk to them and see, oh, well, what is it that you got? And that's not how this is supposed to go. Like I said in the beginning, their jobs is to be impartial. They're not supposed to be looking for results to give to this person and to give to that person. And in the case of Dune Can, whatever the fuck her name is, D, I'm just gonna call her Mrs. D. In the case of Miss D, that's pretty much what happened. She was conversating a little bit too much. She also had some real personal, like, mental issues going on, because this woman was literally like talking to herself. Like, she liked one of the prosecutors, and to kind of like oomph him, I guess, into trying to talk to her, she would like make up fake emails and CC him on it from like somebody in her work office to herself, and then she will reply like talking about how she was in a divorce and she had a book. There was a lot going on with her. So yeah, so her. Then we have, like I said, we have Sonia Fair, who, like I said, that's pretty much what the case is pretty much based around. What pretty much happened with her? We're just gonna get cut straight to the chase. She was, oh, I wanna be respectful. She was an addict. There we go. She was an addict. She was an addict through and through. She was an addict, and the majority of the story is about not the fact that she was an addict. It's about when did she become an addict, because of the fact that, you know, they found out that she was, you know, taking drugs. The reason that she got caught is because they found somebody, officers was looking for some drugs in the case. They called up the drug lab couldn't find it. They go looking through her stuff and they found it. So that's how they caught her up. But the point of the matter is, after they did that, the big bulk of the story was, how is it, number one, when did she start using drugs? Because that has an effect on the people's cases, you know, that I won't say that she tried, but the drug certificates and stuff that she signed off on verifying that certain things were something like a substance when it wasn't. And then also the other question is, how much did the attorney general and the city and all that, how much of this did they know, and how much of it did they try to cover up? Because when the whole story kind of first broke out, they tried to make it seem like it was very minimal, like, oh, she only did it to one or two, but it was a whole lot bigger than that. So that's pretty much what the whole case is about. I want to say this. Mrs. D only did, oh gosh, I wish I would have wrote it down. She didn't do that much time, and neither did Sonia. One of them did 18 months. I can't remember. I think it was Sonia that did 18 months, and Mrs. D, she didn't do that much time either. She definitely, I think she did. I think he said more than 3. More than 3, but no less than 5. So I think she maybe got like 3 years or something like that. Regardless of the situation, these are some of the points that I wanted to tackle. So I'm not going to really go into the story, because if you're watching me, you should have watched it. If you didn't, oh well, maybe this will, prompt you along to watch it. This is not an ad. This is just a show I found interesting. So the first thing that I want to talk about here is the lack of support that is held within these legal systems and stuff like that, and how people are extremely overworked. One of the main problems that happened with Sonia is the fact that the lab that she was working in, they were processing thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of drugs or whatever, as far as trying to test them, but there was maybe 4 or 5 people working there. So it wasn't just the fact that the reason why Sonia did what she did is a little bit of combination of everything. Part of it is the fact that there was not enough support. They were literally running these chemists ragged as far as trying to get everything out. And it was brought up many times, you know, how they'll have different prosecutors calling them like, hey, did you get that yet? Hey, did you get that yet? Hey, did you get that yet? And it's like they're always trying to put out a fire pretty much, right? So that's that. Also, I would say, in general, I think the government in general, they don't have enough support. I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is or how that is, but they just don't. In particular, like right now with the unemployment office in the state that I live in is so backed the fuck up. I know it's not just my state, it's a lot, but they're so backed up. But do you want to know why? It's not that there's just a lot of people. It's that too, but they don't have enough people working there. So when you don't have enough people working something, there's automatically going to be way more human error than if you had enough people manning what you were supposed to man to, right? Okay. Something else I kind of want to talk about in regards to the system as a whole is they touched on the war on drugs. Okay, so the war on drugs is pretty much something that was, I don't say enacted, but kind of like a term and something that was kind of coined by George Bush, the first senior, not the second one, the first one, the one that got his ass beat by Bill Clinton, him. Um, and they kind of delved into how the money is allocated and stuff like that, due to that, and how for real, it's really not a war on drugs. Like, that was just a saying at the time, but the thing about, unfortunately, I don't know, however you look at it, the point of the matter is that there will never be a point in time where the drug trade is not a thing. It will never be a point in time. It's just life. It's just a matter of fact. Not to say that old people need to stop putting money towards it and trying to get people help, but it's a thing that will always happen. And one of the biggest things, even before this, that I always thought about, and that as Black people we kind of talk about in general, is the way that the quote unquote war on drugs was used. It wasn't, the war on drugs was a war on Black people who were on drugs. That's who it was. It wasn't for real on white people. It was focused heavily on us. If you guys want to go back and do your research around this time, like in the late 80s and 90s, and all this war on drugs shit happened, there were tanks knocking down how, like, doors and houses, but not of white people, of us, because of the whole crack epidemic, and we could go into a whole long story about that. But the point of the matter is that the war on drugs was never going to be fair across the board. It was always just going to target us. And as we as Black people say now, and David Chappelle pointed out in his little comedy stand-up, now that heroin and pills and all of that stuff is affecting little Tommy and Becky, and they're all strung the fuck out. Now it's, oh, let's come to them with sympathy. Oh, these people need help. Oh gosh, we should help these people. What happened to the string them up and lock them up and throw away the key? What happened to that? See, when it comes to us, we don't ever get any fucking sympathy, for real. We never get sympathy. It's always our fault, and we're always our own demise and all of this other shit. And like that, I'm sorry, I just have down here white people sympathy, but a lot of that was going, a lot of this, even as much as this documentary tried their best and stuff like that to be fair and objective, there was still a lot of white ass fucking sympathy that was unnecessary throughout this entire documentary. And it's not, I'm not gonna say it's just the filmmakers, because it's not just them. It's literally just the way that white people in general are looked at. I was gonna wait to get to this, but since we on here, let's get into it. Let's talk about the protection of white women. Let's talk about that. And it's so fitting that I watched this today, because when I went on Twitter just now, I seen that Karen is trending, and Karen is trending because some white woman feels like that's an offensive term, when it's fucking not. It's not a racist term. It's not an offensive term. What Karen normally means is a very entitled ass white woman who normally will use her fucking tears and to get whatever the fuck it is that she wants. We really need to have a really deep ass conversation about the protection and the victimhood of fucking white women in this fucking country. And not just that, but how they use that shit. It was so clear throughout this whole thing that Karen in particular, I'm not Karen, sorry, Sonya in particular, I'm telling you right now, if Sonya was not a white woman, none of this shit would have went down the way that it went down. She would have not gotten none of that immunity. None of this shit, I'm telling y'all right now, it wouldn't have went down that way. And even listening to her sister talk or her mama talk and all of this other stuff, her mom gonna say at the end, granted, that's her mama and that's her sister, so I can only do but so much. But at the very end, her mom sat up there and said, oh, well, Sonya said that, that all of those people deserve to be in jail because, I mean, clearly the drugs was real. Like, if they wasn't, I wouldn't have had nothing to take. Cut the shit, bitch. Let's be real. You want to know why? We wouldn't be here if you would have tested every single last one of those things. You didn't fucking test everything. You tested what fucking worked. So let's just start there and let's stop there. To be like, oh, well, yeah, they do deserve to go in jail, because if that was the case, how would I be getting high? The biggest point is that you didn't test everything. You didn't test everything. And it just blows my mind that as a fucking white woman, you could commit the crime that you fucking committed, get off pretty much scot fucking free, because that bitch got off scot free. She did not get nearly any of the time that she should have fucking got, or any fucking She didn't get penalized at all. And that's how it fucking works in America. White women get to do whatever the fuck they want to do. They bat their eyes, they drop a fucking single tear, and still some way they're still the ones. Like, like I said, I don't get how you could commit all of the crimes that you did. You fucked up thousands of people's lives, and you still got the fucking nerve to look in somebody else's face and say, oh, well, I mean, they still deserve to be in jail. Bitch, you deserve to be in jail. How about that? You got off scot fucking free. And it comes down to the basis of the fact, I mean, there's a lot of other stuff in play, but a lot of this shit has to do with the fact that you are a white woman. And until white women in this country in particular start fucking acknowledging the fact that they have a fucking privilege over everybody the fuck else, and how their fucking victimhood and all of that shit is used and it's weaponized, we will never get anywhere. One of the main problems, like they're talking about right now on Twitter, is the fact that white women swear they are so fucking down about anything until you call them out on their shit. Once you call white women out on their shit, now you're being misogynistic and you're being sexist, and oh, we're trying to keep women in their quote unquote place. That's exactly why there's a feminist movement, and then there's something completely different for fucking black women. Because see, when it gets down to the get down, y'all don't really give a fuck about us. Y'all could care less. Y'all always gonna pick y'all race before us. So let's just keep it. Let's just keep it all the way funky. But this shit, this I'm not gonna lie, the way that they were, I don't want to say that the people were, but it just seems so much of like a victimhood from a bitch who, look at what you did. You fucked up and it blows my mind that at the fucking end you're smiling in a fucking picture at a fucking Patriots game, and you have fucked over thousands, like thousands of people, families, all of that shit, and you still get to just at the Pats game. Bitch, you ain't no fucking better than Carole Baskin. The fuck? I'm sorry, I had to really go on a whole. That shit was really making me mad. Okay. Also, I want to say, what else do I have to say? People are human. I do like I love the way that this documentary humanized the inmates and stuff, because a lot of times people, I'm gonna just be real, a lot of times a lot of white people, you know, they will just see people and that's in jail and oh my gosh, they're just a terrible person. Oh my gosh, they deserve to be there. Oh my gosh. And like one of the main attorneys in there, who pretty much, he was like the focal point of it, said, is that a lot of times the prosecution, they give a fuck about just what happened in that moment. They don't give a fuck about the social, economic, or political things that happen to get that person to where they are. And that right there, that is why I want to be a lawyer, because of that reason right there. The fact that people don't fucking pay attention to that. And I'm sorry, y'all, if I'm getting passionate, but I really am very passionate about this type of shit. That's exactly why I'm going to law school. But the fact of the matter is, that's right there is why I want to go, because there are so many people who don't take that type of shit into consideration when it needs to be taken into consideration. A lot of these people, they're not fucking bad people. The majority, if as like, I don't even know if most people know this, 80% of fucking convictions are done through fucking plea deals, not because the person was actually found quote unquote guilty or there was a whole bunch of evidence to show. A lot of times people do that because they don't want to fucking take that time. Just like the guy in this I think what's his name, Ronaldo. They offered him 3 years. He said no. He went to trial. They threw the book at his ass and gave him 7. Thank God he was able to get out. But that's why people don't want to fucking that's why people do plea deals. We can go all the way back and watch fucking Law Abiding Citizen if y'all don't get the point. That whole movie, Law Abiding Citizen, was literally talking about how plea deals and shit, that does nothing. Plea deals does nothing. As a prosecutor, all they care about is their conviction rate. Not about the truth, not about getting justice. They care about their conviction rate. Do you know how many fucking prosecutors, they love to say, oh, I got a 99.9 conviction rate, I got an 80% Christian, I got a 95%. That's not good. How good is your 95% conviction rate if 25% of those cases actually are the only ones who did anything? How good is that? But y'all don't give a fuck. Y'all just care about putting bodies behind fucking bars. And especially since we're talking about drugs, what the fuck is throwing a drug addict behind jail going to do? Even though I just went on a whole long tirade about this woman who is a drug addict and her not being in jail, I'm just saying, We don't have it in this country to where we rehabilitate people. We put people in fucked up positions. People who probably were just normal ass people, maybe made a mistake, and then y'all take them, y'all throw them to prison, and y'all convert them into being even more fucking criminals. Because now you're putting them in a position where there's people who actually are about this life. Then they come out and they do the same shit all over again. Also, thank you, documentary, for pointing out the fact, as we keep saying, how people go to jail, they do their time, and then they get out and they still can't get a fucking chance. Honest to God, I really do think that there should be a little bit more of a concerted effort when it comes to helping people once they get out of jail. Because, like they said, once you're a convicted felon, getting a job, especially depending on your charge, it's so hard, especially when you're first out of jail. It's extremely hard, especially if you weren't young when you committed your crime. If you're like 22 or 23 or 24 and you convict and you do something, you go to jail for like a year or two, you get out like you're 26, 27, who the fuck really wants to hire you? Now, some people could be like, oh, that's that person's choices. But again, let's go back to the social, economical, and political reasons of why people are where they are. Do you really think most people, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you something right now. Most people, not all, I'm not saying all, most people would not be out here robbing, stealing, killing, if they did not feel like they had to. And then for some cases, some people actually have to fucking survive. I'm telling you right now, and if we just delved into that a little bit more and took all of the money that we're putting into prisons and put it into those type of things, we might be in a better fucking position. Oh my gosh. All right. Something I wanted to point out that really had pissed me off is what the judge did, and it's another reason why they stressed me the fuck out. This judge, and come to find out, it kind of wasn't his fault, but at the same time, as a judge, why you not fucking using your own fucking discernment? But there was a point in time where they came to the judge or whatever because they wanted all of her cases pretty much to either be vacated or looked at. And he pretty much said that anything that happened between from the time of summer 2012 to the time that she was arrested, which was like a month or so later, not that much longer later, that's the only point that she could have had tampered with something. Like somebody said in the documentary, it just blows my mind. So on June 1st, she was a model, outstanding citizen. But by June 2nd, she had a full-blown fucking addiction. What kind of sense does that make? So guess what, sir? You get to kiss my ass too. I didn't even get to touch on what I really wanted to talk on outside of the white people shit, which is the fact that the inner workings and what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say conspiracies, but the concerted effort that happened specifically on the attorney general's and prosecution side. Y'all think this is bad? This is nothing. I'm so sorry. It was bad, but it's just amazing that they actually was able to catch on and figure out what happened. This happens all the time. I'm telling y'all right now. It's not even so much a secret. It's really not. The ADA and the fucking attorney general and the prosecution, they always do this shit. They stay going behind the defensive back, like they talked about in here, the fact that as the fucking prosecution, you are supposed to hand over everything to the defense. That probably almost never fucking happens, because who's coming in and doing the checks and the balances to make sure that they are? Nobody. You're gonna have to just take whatever it is that they get, and if you don't, guess what? They're gonna have you tied up for years trying to get that shit. Like I said, it took them almost 4 fucking years just to fucking get a list of the people that Sonya fucking worked on. That's insane. And there was, I'm sorry, but I believe that there was a fucking a concerted effort to hide that shit. The fact that those two bitches who lied, the Chris and the other person that they had on the stand that they lied and they did no time, that's fucking trash. Again, y'all putting the wrong people in fucking jail. It's disgusting. And at the end of the day, this system is so fucking flawed that sometimes I really do question if I even want to be a lawyer, because it just feels like it's a never ending game that's never gonna end. Because at the end of the day, people have agendas that they need to get by. People care about money, people care about power. Nobody really gives a fuck for real at the end of the day when it comes to quote unquote justice. Nobody cares. Nobody fucking cares. Not for real. I talk long enough, y'all. I gotta do my homework. I'm out bad.